Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz, and today it will be another which is better video. So like with all of the others, don't click away just yet because there will be gameplay in the back half of this video of the two tanks after we've gone down the stats of objectively what's different between the two of them. So yeah, stay tuned for that. There will also be a timestamp in the description of when the gameplay starts, and there will be gameplay one after the other. So, heading back then. These are both Tier 3 Tech Tree medium tanks, both of which are the same tank. They are both Chihas, as you can see. They look practically identical. And they are, like I said, both Tech Tree tanks, and they're saying exactly the same model of tank, so in theory they should be better. They should be the same, right? But they're not, because these two tanks are different. And if someone was to say which one has got the better stats and are you more likely to do well in, of the two, which would be the better one? And I would have to say the Japanese one. But only ever so slightly. It's not a massive glaring difference, such as the IS-2s or the T-34 or the Tier 5 T-34s that I've gone over already in this series. But the Japanese one is ever so slightly different. So, like with all the other ones, I'll start with just a rundown quickly of the objective stats, and then point out in a second round which one's different. So we'll start out with the Chinese one, let's say. We'll start out with the Chinese Chiha, and then we'll move on to the Japanese Chiha afterwards. So, here we go then. 430 HP, 45 frontal turret, 40 side, 35 rear, 30 frontal hull, 25 side, 20 rear, 230 meters view range, 4.9 second reload time, 66 mils of pen with AP, 130 with APCR, 65 average damage with AP, 2.6 second aim time, 0.36 dispersion, 9 degrees of gun depression, 32 average speed kilometers per hour, 16.8 power to weight with a 37.5 degrees turret traverse and a 51.73 hull traverse with a 248 horsepower engine. So that's the Chinese one. Now we move on to the Japanese one. 425 HP, 45 frontal turret, 35 side and rear, 35 frontal hull, 30 side, 20 rear, 230 meters view range, 4.9 second reload time, 66 average pen with AP, 122 with premium AP, 65 average damage, 2.6 second aim time, 0.35 dispersion, 9 degrees of gun depression, 33 average speed kilometers per hour, 17.3 power to weight, 39.6 degrees per second turret and a 52.22 degrees hull traverse with a 250 horsepower engine. So there you go. If you were reading along with those, you might have noticed the difference, which is that this tank, the Japanese version of the Chiha, has got ever so slightly better mobility, it's got ever so slightly better gun stats, and ever so slightly better frontal armour in comparison. So yeah, mainly the hull armour. It does have 5mm less side turret armour, but that it isn't that consequential. What is, however, more consequential is the frontal armour. 35 frontal hull, 30-20, compared to the Chinese ones, 30-25-20. So it's got about 5mm extra armour on both the front and side of the hull. Which is, it can make the difference. Since it's pretty well sloped up here and up here, not so much on this front machine gunner's port and driver's port. However, this frontal upper glacis area with the entrance hatches, that is where the that is where it's going to make the difference. The side of the turret doesn't really make any difference. It's pretty decently rounded, but even so, 5mm less on there. It's really looking at the sloping on this frontal armour. Really, that's what we're looking at in terms of that armour difference. Also, the mobility, as you saw, was slightly better. This thing has got 2 horsepowers extra out of its engine, which is a Type 100 V12 engine, in comparison to what's the Chinese one got, a Type 100 V12A engine, which slightly worse engine power. They have both got exactly the same equipment loadout as well. I should have prefaced this, and also they've both got 100% crew. So the only equipment I have unlocked on these tanks, because I was only really grinding the Japanese tank to get to the new Japanese tank destroyers. Afterwards I was going to get rid of it, but then I realised I could make a video out of the two of them. But yeah, so the only equipment both of them have got loaded out is the gun rammer for the gun. Otherwise, that's the only equipment that's loaded out. No extra engine power or anything. They've both got exactly the same consumables, and both of their ammo loads are full, but I don't think that makes any difference. But yeah, so the mobility of the Japanese one is slightly better with 1 extra kilometers per hour average speed, slightly better power to weight, and slightly better traverse limits. If we go through it again, as we can see here, this thing has got a 16.8 horsepower per ton ratio on the Chinese one, compared to the Japanese one's 17.3, and the Chinese has got a 32 average speed in comparison to 33. And yeah, the hull traverse and turret traverse is slightly worse as well. But again, those are only very minor differences. The only other difference is that the gun on the Chinese tank is slightly worse in terms of accuracy. It's got 0.36 dispersion instead of 0.35. I think the aim time is the same. Let's have a look. Aim time. 2.6 seconds, yeah, so 2.6 seconds with both of them. They both have got, I think, the same average pen with AP and the same average damage, except the Japanese one has got, again, 2mm extra pen with its premium armor piercing. And yeah, aim time otherwise, and dispersion, it's 0.01 more % accurate, so it's not exactly a massive difference, but you know, it can make the difference when you're aiming up on something. So yeah, those are the objective differences. So as you can see, the Japanese one is slightly better. In some aspects you won't notice it, such as the armor and the gun. However, the mobility, you can notice the Japanese Chiha has got the slight edge over the Chinese one, which is strange. I'll give you that. I mean, they are both exactly the same tank with pretty much exactly the same loadout. They've got basically the same gun. This is a Type 1 gun, as designated on the Chinese tank, and it's a Type 1 Mod 2 for the Japanese tank. So maybe that's the difference. I don't know, because the Type 1 gun, Mod 1, is the stock gun on the Japanese Chiha, which is not that great. But oh well, there you go. So yeah, those are the rundowns of the stats. Now I'll show you some gameplay. I'll show you the Japanese tank first, and then I will show you the Chinese Chiha in the second game, and then we'll give the final closure after those videos, after those games. Sorry. So here we go into the Japanese game. So here we go then. So this is the Japanese game I have got lined up for you in the Chiha. As you can see, we have got 3 Chihas on our team. They've got 3 Panzer IIIs. So as soon as I saw this game, I was going, oh no, we're not going to do well here, because 3 Panzer IIIs, guaranteed one of them will be a Seal Clubber of some kind, because that's the low tier meta. However, it turned out pretty well for us, as it turns out. So here we go. The biggest difference I think most people will find is the choice of camos. Which camo do you prefer, the Chinese or Japanese camouflage on this tank? I think is the biggest worry people are going to have with this vehicle. So I'm going to head over here on what is this, Mirage, Desert Sand? Can't remember. Generic desert map. Honestly, and we spot 1 Panzer III right away. Those guys get spotted. Now this thing does, both of these tanks have got pretty decent guns on them, I feel, and they also have 9 degrees of gun depression, so you can kind of ridgeline with these things. As you can see, I got 1 shot right into the front of that Panzer III, took him down to exactly 400 HP. I got an exact average roll for my first shot there, and then the other 2 bounced because it's a Panzer III, what can you expect? And then I get shot by someone over there, so I'm thinking, who the hell's that? I don't know, maybe I'll spot him as I go forwards, fire a random shot, and there's another Chiha. I think that's a Japanese Chiha, and there we go. Panzer III again. Shot on the move, luckily hits him. He bounces his next shot off the side of the Chiha, and that Panzer III has got a damaged engine, so of course I'm going to take the opportunity to put as many shots as I can into this Panzer III, because scourge of the low tiers, I mean, look at it. But it is going to go down, luckily, and then one shot into the lower glacis finishes it off. Very nice. 14 TP sitting there in spawn, I think. No, he's not AFK, he's just not moved. The other Panzer III is cleared out, leaving just the Chiha over here, which I fire a shot which goes straight over his bows. So of course I'm just going to like annoy this guy. I see he's got the stock gun, I believe. I believe on his that's the Chinese one, and I believe that's the stock gun. I could be wrong. So we're just going to go and beat up this 14 TP. I was going to leave him, but since he's still alive, we might as well clear him out whilst we're here, because he has come to life and he is, you know, actually moving, so he is a legitimate threat then. Our other Chiha is for some reason chasing down that Chiha. I think he's actually lagged out, which is why he wasn't doing anything, but it means that I can put a couple of shots into this Chiha without him hitting me, and he's not actually using the stock gun. Okay, interesting. But yeah, so I did manage to execute the 14 TP beforehand, since he was, you know, chasing that lagged out tank. Bounce one shot off of, I think, my frontal turret, and yeah, there he goes. Just a Panzer III on the hill. 14 TP uses his nice little auto cannon to finish off that guy. Fire a shot on the move as I close the distance on that Panzer III. It's just him left. There's 5 of us. He's not going to win. I mean, he's got 3, you know, at least 3/4 health tanks at least to deal with. Shot on the move, actually manages to hit him. Was very impressed with that. And down we come. One more shot in on the move again, managed to hit him, and yeah, down he goes. So there you go. We managed to win that game nice and easily. Not as bad as I thought it would have been with that amount of Panzer IIIs, but game turned out all right. Didn't really showcase off the ridgeline capabilities of this tank, but there wasn't really opportunity. As the game tries to process it. So yeah, there you go. 1080 damage dealt, second class mastery. We got a high caliber, 5,700 credits earned after repair resupply at least. Nearly 1300 XP for first win of the day. As we can see there, top of the team obviously by a lot. We did get, you know, 24 shots fired, 20 hits, 19 pens. Decent enough anti-tank gun on this tank. So yeah, there you go. All of the we got a bit of assist damage on that Panzer III, but otherwise, yeah, it was a pretty decent game. So now I'll show you the comparison Chinese Chiha game. So here we go then. Fort Despair this time. It is another tier 3 game, however, luckily. And I am going to try and showcase off in this game the ridgeline capabilities of this tank, because with 9 degrees of gun depression you can really use that frontal turret armour to your advantage, because, you know, 45mm of frontal turret is fairly decent, especially if you are slightly angling it back with that, like I keep saying, 9 degrees of gun depression. So I'm going to go up here to these bushes, see what we can spot. There's 2 of them, 14 TP and BT7. First shot misses because I get rammed from behind by a 14 TP, and I look to see who it is, and I'm like, oh, just rammed into me from behind, that's fine. Missed my next shot on the BT7, unfortunately, who's trying to deal with our M5 Stuart, who's the only one who's gone over there. I come up over here, trying to see where someone is. There's someone, and then I get shot by another M5 Stuart. First shot bounces, hits his track at least. We spot a D2 there as well. 14 TP is in a really bad space. Look at how quick he loses all of his health to that cruiser mostly, because the cruiser's both there you go, one shot bounce, one shot hit. I put one shot into the cruiser. The BT7 over there has finished off the M5 unfortunately, and I really want to kill off that BT7 because he's like a couple of shot kill. But look at that, 14 TP now has already lost pretty much all of his health. D2 still advancing over there, so I put one more shot into him. Now I back it up because that 14 TP is looking at me. Fire a shot on the move, goes where I was aiming, but I wasn't aiming particularly well. His next shot hits my track, but that one doesn't. I do get a shot into him in return, and then one more into his front. I get hit from the side by one of the M5 Stuarts over there, but it bounces, so I keep moving. I've now put pretty much the hill between me and them, and I don't realise this at the time, but one of them is actually flanking. There he is. I look to the side because I look and see if something's happening, and something is, but I'm just not paying attention. Put one more shot into the D2, and then all of a sudden from the side, in a moment, there will be a shot hitting me. Next shot bounces off the D2, he puts a shot into me for 43. Put one more shot into the 14 TP and I back it up. There he goes, he's backing it off again. In comes that D2, I get a nice lead shot into him. There's the shot that flies over me, and oh hello, there's an M5 Stuart to the side. So yeah, I put one more shot into him, another shot into him, and then he drops down there for whatever reason. We are, however, losing 2-4 at the current time. There's that BT7. Lovely shot. Yeah, lovely shot there. Managed to finish him off whilst he was not spotted. I exchange a shot with the M5, and I really want to kill him off, but take a shot from the D2 there, and I miss my shot on the M5. The M5's coming for me. I managed to finish him off, but he does get a shot into me, and then yeah, I shouldn't really have done that because, well, there's the D2 finishes me off, which is a shame because I really could have lived that and killed him off and then taken out the Panzer III over there. But as it is, we have only got a D2 and a Panzer IIIA. The Panzer IIIA finished off their one. It's just the D2 and the M5A1 left, and well, shortly they are going to end up killing the D2. And well, the game goes on quite a while after this actually, so I'm just going to end it here. But we do eventually, end up winning this. Yeah, so there's the end screen. I probably could have got maybe an extra 100 damage on top of my total damage there if I'd not died to the D2, but as it is, I was in just enough HP for that was it 47 mil to finish me off, which is a shame, but it was still a second class mastery and a scout medal, yeah, scout medal for detecting at least 5 enemy vehicles when I went onto that hill line. So yeah, overall not quite as good of a game, but it was still, you know, decent enough to get a second class mastery. So, you know, second only to the Panzer III, Panzer IIIA on our team. But otherwise, yeah, fairly decent game. 19 shots fired, 15 hits, 14 pens. Again, probably could have done more to that if I'd managed to cut off that D2 or not been hit by him. Either one. Yeah, we did receive a couple of non-pens, which either bounced or hit my track. But still, here we go. Here's all the damage numbers. So yeah, that's the game in the Chinese Chiha, which comes up as the Type 2597 Chiha, because having two Type 97 Chihas would make it confusing, I guess. But yeah, so there you go. So as you saw, there wasn't really that much difference in the gameplay. There were two different scenarios that I was in, so the tanks just did their own thing. However, you know, this tank does have the better armour, does have the slightly better gun, and it does have the slight edge on manoeuvrability, but it's only a minor thing, and like I said, it's really which camouflage pattern do you prefer in terms of which tank you're going to keep, because this one is ever so slightly worse, but again, it's ever so slightly, and at the end of the day, it's only Tier 3. No one expects great things from Tier 3, if I'm honest. You know, there's no one tank at this tier that people expected great things from, like at higher tiers. It's not like you're going to be asked to carry games or anything. It really is, do you prefer the Chinese camouflages or the Japanese camouflages? Because either one of them are nice. You know, I do like the desert camo, particularly on the Chinese tanks, and then on the Japanese tanks they've got some pretty decent camos as well. For example, this one and this one are both very nice. You know, this winter camo, and I guess this is all right for the desert camo. But yeah, that's all the objective stats and the gameplay on these two supposedly identical tanks, which are the Chihas. So yes, I'll hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.